Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another segment of U.S. News by Billie. Today's date, May 27, 2023. New. This is my third YouTube channel. I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share on YouTube and Rumble. Episode 23. U.S. Citizen Patriot Militias. What's going on? Texas border. We're hearing some rumors about Ebola. The U.S. government is headed for bunkers this weekend. What are they saying to the American people? And white U.S. government trains. What does that mean? Some of the sources I'll be using got in the Bible Patriot subscriber. Earthmaster, ETN News, Disaster Compilations. Excuse me. Allergies. Let's see. Redacted, JWTV, BP, Pastor Paul Begley with Mike from Around the World, BPEarthwatch, Dr. William Mount, Monkey Works, Hal Turner, Beforeitsnews, Benjamin Fulford, a movie Outbreak. So let's get started. Okay, so we'll begin first with the things that are going on geologically on the Earth. And we've been hearing about the U.S. government going to bunkers this weekend and saying nothing to we the people. One of the factors could be Earth changes that are going on. We know we've been hearing about this space event, Planet X, Nibiru, supernova, micronova, different things, galactic sheet, waves of energy that is going on. Okay, so we're hearing now about some earthquakes. So in Japan, near Tokyo, there was a recent 6+ that went on that was 44 kilometers deep. We had also in the U.S., we have Canada, California, the Cascadia area. Here in the U.S., California, Cascadia. We've been having shallow earthquakes in this area, and this past week we had like a 4+. There's an area right here. ETN News reported on this, and I put it out in my video a week or so ago about Lake Ammonium in this area of that's near or above Eureka, California, having swarms of earthquakes. And so they had another one May 25, yesterday, about 4:30 in the morning, a 4+. So something's going on in Cascadia for sure, and around the world. So we're seeing that happen. Now, I'll also link this for you, Disaster Compilations, and they have a video of what happened in this Japanese earthquake that was interesting. Okay, now we'll go on to Benjamin Fulford covering or giving some more information about the G7 recent meeting that was in Japan. And he's also talking about, yes, and this is coming up again and again, about proxy wars. Because we've been seeing in Ukraine, supposedly it was Ukraine versus Russia. Well, most people knew from the beginning it was really a proxy war for the shadow NATO, the shadow US, the shadow UK. So Benjamin Fulford is also bringing this out about the G7 fighting proxy wars, and since 9/11 they've been in wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya. And so far, they have killed 4.5 million people and made refugees of about 38 million. Now, submit to you, the deep state creates these situations. They make money from war, from both sides. They sell weapons to both sides. But they also make money when people are displaced, and that also helps them maintain control because they create chaos, and that helps them control maybe contrary populations, like the U.S. We're very contrary. And he's talking about different bioweapons. We saw in 2021, we saw the pharma and the arm. So that's going on. And he's talking about the different leaders of the G7 nations. And most people who are awake understand what they're seeing in JV, in Macron, in Trudeau, in Scholz. And Scholz of Germany, Colonel Douglas McGregor, a retired Army colonel, says Scholz is the worst leader of Germany in over 1,000 years. Well, that's telling it like it is, isn't it? Okay. And then we have Redacted also reporting on proxy wars, killing millions, and giving a recent example that happened on May 3rd of the shadow U.S. government using drones in Syria, allegedly to kill a terrorist, but they actually wound up killing an innocent farmer, hurting his sheep and goats. So that's going on. And now we have this, Monkey Works. So Monkey is a retired military. He does his YouTube site. He's got two YouTubes, one trucks, planes, primarily military, some commercial, globally, some ships. Is talking about, and he has a second YouTube, a ministry, Christian ministry, talking about the survey flights that have been going on over the U.S. Now, he was saying the usual time they do these is like in October, and I can relate to this. I had a friend who has rural property, and he says, yeah, the planes come over in the fall and they count the number of buildings I have on my property because it's rural. He doesn't have to have permits. And then it shows up on my January tax bill. So, yeah, that's what Monkey is saying. Also, the survey planes typically done by the U.S. military. They do them for military reasons, but they also supply data to government and states for taxing issues. But now we're seeing them this is the end of May. I think Monkey started reporting on those in April. So April, May, and he's talking about thousands of them, not only in the U.S., but Australia and other places around the world. And what they're doing, the planes are using... of course, they're videotaping, but they're also using laser. So from the plane, then they bounce down the laser radar information, comes back up. I submit they're doing this for several reasons. One of them is the earth change is going on, and because we know I had that from God. And recently, Dutch Sense also documented that the fires going on in Canada are a result of magma rising inside the earth. And what I had from God in 2020 was pay attention to the edges of the tectonic plates because magma is heating up inside the earth. So I submit some of these survey flights could be to gauge what's happening on the surface of the earth. So that's going on. Now, Monkey's also reporting a nuke sniffer over Indianapolis 500. So I think that's just a normal course of security for the U.S. Now he's talking about, and we have this also from Hal Turner, Monkey Works. This is about Mike from around the world, gave some new information. So we have U.S. Continuity of government, and we had that information from Hal Turner that the government and certain agencies were going to bunkers by Saturday, May 27. And we also have that information about senators receiving sat phones. Now, what we were hearing is that 50 senators received them. Mike from around the world says no, it was the full 100, and that the senators who were Republicans didn't want to put it out that they had received from the dim U.S. government sat phones. But Mike says no, they all received them. Because I had a question in my mind, as many people did, I'm sure, why only half accepted the sat phones? They all accepted them, and as far as we know, they're all in underground bunkers. So that leaves we, the people on the surface here, dealing with anything that's going to happen, doesn't it? It's good that we have God at our back, doesn't it? Okay, we have this from Janet Yellen, because that was coming out. They all went to bunkers and they did nothing about the U.S. government default. And so this is coming out from Janet Yellen, who is the spokesperson for the shadow U.S. government, representing the Treasury, Feds, Fed Bank. Okay. So this just came out on Steve Quayle's site. The source was Town Hall. So on this is May 27. Janet Yellen comes out and makes a public statement that the default for the government has been extended to June 5 through 9, and that June 1, the first couple of weeks or so, the U.S. federal government is going to make billions of dollars of scheduled payments for Social Security, veteran benefits, Medicare, because I'm sure a lot of people were hearing, oh, they're not going to get their Social Security check. Nope, that's not true. And sites now are saying, you know, this is all really kabuki theater, that 4 times in the past the U.S. government has defaulted on its debt. So, and they picked up the pieces and they didn't stop sending Social Security payments and other benefits to individuals. So that's going on. Now we have this. We have Dabu 77, and he's talking about the U.S. Navy has intercepted, that was a Chinese hack. Hal Turner also put this information out. It's called Volt software, and supposedly, but Dabu is documenting that the Navy says they've been hit with this attack on infrastructure, communications, transportation, plus, and that it's affecting the U.S. and Guam, and that Microsoft gave a warning that it's possible the software could bring down our power grid for 60 days. And so that's going on. I think since Microsoft put out this information that they had been dealing with this Chinese software hack since 2021, and now Microsoft has a product, 365 Defender. So you could also wonder, are they just putting it out now to help sell the Microsoft product possible. So, yeah, that's going on. Then we have this JWTV. I'll link his video. I found it very interesting because it shows inside military troops going over different information they're receiving about an asteroid that was really an ET spaceship, and how to deal and identify with the ETs described as being very tall reptilians. Yeah. And so he's got those actual clips. And from the military, yeah, also underground wars are going on where they're fighting Nephilim plus other groups, and that they are rescuing young humans from the cartels who are engaged in trafficking. And they are also going into Area 51. So there are actual correct clips. I looked at them and I'll link them for you. All right. Now we have this from BPEarthwatch talking about prophecy. And Enoch. That's a book. I've read it. They call it not biblical, but providing information about the Bible. Talking about the Nephilim, cannibals, giants, and Nephilim. And two different groups. BP has information. One of them is, first, the fallen angels mated with humans, and they made the Nephilim. Then the Nephilim mated with human women and made giants. Then the giants mated with human women and made hybrid groups. So, yeah, that's going on. And now we have this. So Mike from around the world, he's talking about white trains. In other words, the cars are painted white, and they're from the U.S. government. Now, he put out on Pastor Paul Begley about 2.5 years ago about information about the white trains. When you see the white trains, you will know that we're getting close to something catastrophic in this nation. And it will be to distribute food. Well, Pastor Paul Begley had one of his subscribers in Montana send information in Thursday that they had seen a white train in Montana. And so Mike from around the world says, yeah, that would be the U.S. government getting ready to distribute food. And what they will do, they will go into the stores and destroy all food items. And they will do the same at warehouses because they've been poisoned. And they will replace it with food by white trains all over the United States. So, that's going on. White trains. So it's a good time to prep and pray, I say. And now we have this. All right. So Israeli News Live with Stephen Benin. Stephen formerly was with the CIA, now is the ministry, and regularly gets updates from the Pentagon. Had an interview on FX Connect. And was talking about Rashid Butnar and his recent passing, talking about different pathogens and different triggers for the pharma in the arm that's inside your body by outside sources to interact with the pharma for the arm that's inside your body. All right. Now, Steve is talking about, and the lady who was interviewing him, Bonnie, talking about hemorrhagic fevers coming over the Texas border. This would be like Ebola, Marburg. Now, the movie Outbreak, shown by thousands of biology teachers, including myself, at the end of the school year. We would always show our students this movie, Outbreak, because we wanted our students exposed to certain concepts, plus looking at how viruses are transmitted and what are the symptoms of the hemorrhagic fevers where you bleed out. Outbreak is about a population being exposed and the spread of an Ebola type hemorrhagic fever and what are the symptoms. So it's worth watching. Now, Steve is making this observation about Ebola coming over the Texas border. I submit it could be coming over the Texas border, but I don't believe it's coming over the Texas border infected in people, and this is why. The symptoms for Ebola or any hemorrhagic fever like Ebola, Lassa, Marburg, dengue, yellow fever is first it starts out with flu and digestion, headache, fever, but you also have bruising under the skin and you have bleeding. It's highly contagious. You can get this. You have to touch. You have to be in contact with either an individual or they're also saying some types of bats, some types of primates like monkeys. In the movie Outbreak, they show it passing from a monkey. All right. So individuals, anything a person, if a person has hemorrhagic fever, a virus, Ebola, anything they've touched can transmit the virus. And the virus lives on surfaces and clothes for several hours. It can be killed with on surfaces with hospital-grade disinfectant. But anything an individual touches, or if you touch their body or any body fluid like a saliva, or have sex and pass, that would be vaginal fluid, semen, blood, sweat, any type of, or you touch an object, these individuals have touched a surface or their clothes or their bedding or any medical needles like that. It's very contagious. And once you get it and you are contagious, once you start showing the symptoms and the incubation time, that is the period between the time you're exposed to the virus and you actually show signs or symptoms, for Ebola is 2 to 21 days, but the average is for people to die in 10 to 12 days after they come in contact with the person or an object and begin showing symptoms. Death ensues in 10 to 12 days. Death rate is 60 to 90%. Depends on certain, if the person's compromised by other things in their body, and so on. So it's hemorrhagic fevers are very deadly. So we have that going on. Do I believe it's coming over the Texas border by infected people? I do not. because I believe if we did, we would have then thousands of people exposed to a few who have it, and you would have a huge outbreak. We're not seeing that. Now, could they be moving hemorrhagic fever like in vials from a biolab in Mexico and South America? Yeah, that could absolutely be going on. So hemorrhagic fevers or viruses are described as being transmitted by RNA in the virus. Yeah. Okay. Now, Stephen brought this information out. So the next pandemic, and we saw one in 2020 with the release of that bioweapon, Corona. Remember that? Yeah. So Stephen is saying the next pandemic the deep state has planned is Ebola plus some type of hemorrhagic fever, which you will see demonstrated in the movie Outbreak. But also pre-flood viruses that have been discovered in Siberia. Now, I've put out that previous information. So, if you're talking about pre-flood viruses from Siberia that likely came from ET's spaceships, then the human population would have no natural immunity. So that's going on. And we know the deep state wants to try and do us in, but God can change our immune system. So yeah, that's going on too. All right, so the way the Ebola, is passed, you have to come in contact with body fluids, sweat, urine, feces, blood, organs, vomit, surfaces, clothes. All right. Now we have this. So we have Mike from around the world giving this information out, that recent ammonium nitrate disappearance of 30 tons or 60,000 pounds. Now we learn it's weapons grade. And Mike from around the world says it was taken by the U.S. Citizen Patriot Militias to make ammo, to make bullets. So I'll give you some more details on this. So we had, we learned just a few days ago that April 12, 60,000 pounds of ammonium nitrate, which can be a fertilizer, but this was weapons grade, according to Mike, disappeared on a train that was Union Pacific, and the company that supplied the ammonium nitrate was Dyno Nobel, who had been in the explosive business for 150 years. They loaded up a train, and see, Monkey Works had some information on that too. They loaded up a train in Cheyenne, Montana, I think, and it went to Saltdale, California, here to here. And supposedly they put it on these train cars, 60,000 pounds, which would be several tractor trailer loads. And the cars had seals put on them. And when they got to California, the seals were still intact, but the ammonium nitrate was not in the cars. So now they're trying to put this out. Oh, the cars had holes in them and it all leaked out. Well, Monkey Works reached out to someone in the train industry, and they said, those cars are smart. And you load them up, you put in, it's all computer. You put in what's in it, the chemical. That way, if there's a spill, the railroad just goes by the rail car. They know what's on that train. They can identify the chemicals. But those seals stay intact until they are unsealed for certain chemicals, explosives, and so on by trained, credentialed individuals. So no, there wasn't a hole in the so what happened? So my position had been, and continues to be, that the ammonium nitrate was never loaded into these cars. It was, paperwork that said they were, but they were not. If they would have disappeared then, April 12th. And Mike from around the world says the NSA, the U.S. and other divisions of the U.S. government believe that the American citizen patriots, and we believe we have at a minimum 100 million American citizen patriots organized into militias, they would have paid for this, and at $600 a ton, so that would be $600 times 30. Plus, they would have paid extra because there would have been a lot of people being paid off here, too. But they took it, the militias took it to make ammo, to make bullets, because they had plenty of weapons, but the U.S. government has clamped down on how much and tracking, selling bullets and so on. Now, we saw this at the Oath Keeper, Mr. Rhodes, was recently, plus other members of the Oath Keepers, who are an organized militia, in a court in Washington, D.C., that did not operate based on the Constitution nor any existing law, but rather weaponized their court to come against a political enemy by the deep state. They consider American citizen patriots to be enemies of the deep state. And they sentenced him, and that was this week, to 18 years in prison, supposedly for his part in the J6, but the government admits he never went in the buildings. He was always outside. But hey, what does it matter when you have a court system that doesn't operate on the Constitution nor any existing law, but rather weaponizes the court against American citizen patriots? This is what you get, and this happened a few days ago. So, yeah. Now, it'll be interesting to see if Mr. Rhodes and the other patriots actually go to prison or stay there. It'll be interesting to see. Now we have this. All right. Now we're coming up on Memorial Day this Monday. The U.S. Memorial Day celebrates our U.S. military for the fallen soldiers. And we'll do that on Monday, May 29, 2023. And now we have this story from Dr. William Mount that in Russia, they've been having this military operation in Ukraine. There was the U.S. military has been legally operating with U.S. military inside Ukraine as advisors. And there was a Green Beret. And the Green Beret is the special forces of the U.S. Army. And their primary role is to train and lead unconventional warfare. And that's what they've been doing inside Ukraine. It was legal for our soldiers to be in Ukraine as advisors. We had a Green Beret killed. Russia contacted the JB deep state government to say we have the body and would like to return it. And the JB deep state government declined. So the Russian government buried the Green Beret with all military honors inside Russia to give honor to, after all, he was an honorable fallen soldier. So that's going on. And now we, the American citizen patriots, we will use this Memorial Day to celebrate and remember our honorable fallen soldiers, unlike the JB deep state U.S. government. Okay, and a short prayer for America. It's based on America the Beautiful, words and lyrics by Bates and Ward. America, may our skies remain forever clear and blue. May amber waves of grain ever fill our plains. May pilgrim feet ever seek our shores who are aligned with God. To walk in a land of freedom by constitution, in a land of liberty by law, in a land of grace by blessing from God. And we say, God bless America, beautiful place of patriot dreams and a brotherhood from sea to shining sea. And we thank you, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and God the Holy Spirit. And I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there, continue to pray. It's good to remember God is in charge and He is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.